Hello, everyone. Welcome to our digital brochure for emotional disturbance. This is the spring of 2022, teaching exceptional learners. And today we are going to dig a little bit deeper on what is to be emotionally disturbed in a classroom setting. For our definition, and under the idea Individual with Disabilities Educational Act in the United States, emotional disturbance means that a condition exhibiting on one or more of the following characteristics over a long period of time and to a marked degree that adversely affects the child's educational performance. In this definition, we have several points that help us to define it. As you can see, point A, it says an inability to learn that cannot be explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. B, it says an inability to build or maintain satisfactory interpersonal relationship with peers and teachers or staff. Inappropriate types of behavior or feelings under normal circumstances. D, a general pervasive mood of unhappiness or depression. E, a tendency to develop physical symptoms or fears associated with personal or school problems. The definition under legal terminology seems to be a little bit too broad. And that is why we would like to put it in layman's terms. Because if there is anything that is either mislabeled or underlabeled, are students with disabilities. In special, emotional disturbed students, it can be either mislabeled or, better said, misdiagnosed or stigmatized because of a wrong diagnosis. IDEA 2004 uses the term of emotional disturbance to describe characteristics of children to whom we refer as having behavioral or emotional disorders. This means that any behavioral or emotional disorder that affects someone's daily functioning can be resulting in maladaptive behaviors. According to the American Psychological Association, emotional disturbance is a fear, anxiety, or emotionally based condition that result in maladaptive behavior ranging from withdrawal from society, isolation, to acting out and aggression, and adversely affects an individual's academic and social functioning. Public schools and overall education professionals that deal with students with emotional disturbance have to differentiate from emotional disturbance underage people and emotional disturbance that are already considered a danger for society. In our research, we found several websites that will consider emotional disturbed individuals, but under legal terminology that has to deal with law enforcement. This is a bit different, but the idea behind that still holds true. Now, let us analyze some prevalence rates, because according to Burns and Watsakis 2020, emotional disturbance account for 5.7% of all students ages 3 to 21 with disabilities. Unfortunately, however, it is likely that this figure underestimates the amount of students struggling with emotional disturbance. Additionally, let us remember that because of the term of emotional disturbance is stigmatizing, some students that are diagnosed with being emotionally disturbed, many professionals are reluctant to identify it in many children. And just to have a better understanding of how complicated might be the uh, diagnosis of a mental disturbed individual, in this case a student, why don't we look at the subcategories? Emotional disturbance can be also an umbrella term under which several or distinct diagnoses such as anxiety disorder, manic depressive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and more will fall. Paranoia, that we can see in the middle, mental disorders, psychosis, schizophrenia, which is a more severe mental condition, anorexia can be considered another disorder, depression that can be uh, temporary or more predominant, stress under normal or abnormal conditions, panic, fear, bipolar disorders, hysteria, anxiety. Therefore, it is not easy. Now, let us analyze or go through some warning signs. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, some warning signs of emotional disturbance can include eating or sleeping too much or too little, pulling away from people and things, either peers, teachers, not engaging in social conversations or interactions, having low or no energy at all, having unexplained aches and pains, such as constant stomach aches or headaches, feeling helpless or hopeless, excessive smoking, drinking, or drug use abuse, excessive feeling to worry or guilt, thinking of hurting yourself or others, having difficulty readjusting to work or home life, or making these transitions as smooth uh, as any other transition can be. But again, if we consider these warning signs, it is still very complicated to have a professional assessment that is accurate, that is um, the best for the student, so that the student can enjoy of quality of education and is not separated, isolated from her, their peers or the building itself, depending on how severe is the emotional disturbance. Now, let's go for some tips, strategies, or instructional techniques that can help us to better serve our students with emotional disturbance. It is important also to mention that even though these are tips for emotional disturbed students, these strategies also can help um, not only improve our emotional disturbed students, but also um, all of our students in the classroom. First, we can identify and document the behaviors that we notice in our classrooms that are interfering with learning. Second, and we can ensure that students require medication, that they receive it at a proper time, and that they need to ensure that they are properly receiving the support they needed. In this case, the ability to go to the nurse and to have routine check-ins. Three, to work with support specialists in the building to get students help, counselors, psychologists, therapists, all of these resources that can improve the students' performance and well-being. Positive peer reviews, students that are asked to watch their peers and identify positive behaviors. Both the students who is behaving positively and the student who does the identifying are rewarded. This is more as a school culture type of strategy. This is exact the opposite of tattletelling and fosters a sense of teamwork and social support in the classroom. 5. Providing choice and making opportunities. We as teachers can use a 6-step method for choice making. Offer the students 2 or more options. Again, this could be also related to student-led classroom teaching methodologies. To ask also students to make a choice, provide wait time to make this choice. Wait time is also important for everyone in the classroom. Reinforce the option that is being chosen, and prompt students to make choice if one is not made. There might be some more other strategies. This list that we just gave is certainly not inclusive. Here we have also other information just to expand a little bit on how complicated it can be to serve us students with emotional disturbance. According to Burns and Buteskis, Tourette syndrome is included in the emotional disturbance category. Tourette is a disorder affecting the nervous system, which causes unwanted movements or sounds. So the Tourette syndrome is included under the emotional disturbed subcategories. Then we could also say that childs with autism are considered mentally disturbed, or child that suffers of mild depressions, or child that suffer an unwelcoming home structure that generally go as undocumented as many other situations. Therefore, we have a huge responsibility to serve our students with emotional disturbance. All right, I think that is all from us. Again, this was Melissa, Lisa, and Francisco's job on emotional disturbance. Here are some references. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.